Hey guys, welcome to my most favorite video of the month, which is my monthly makeup routine recap. So at the beginning of every single month, I pick a reasonable amount of products from every category in my collection. And the thing is, I use those products consistently throughout the entire month. And this is the time that I'm going to tell you if I'm going to keep the products or if I'm going to get rid of them. Alongside giving you that information, I'm also going to apply every single product on my face. I'm not going to guarantee you that this look is going to make much sense. It's probably not going to match at all, but you're going to see everything as is. So since I've been using this stuff so much, I have a lot to say about it, so let's get right into it. Alright guys, so before getting into the actual makeup, I have a few things on my face already and I want to let you know what that is. I already went ahead and put some Visine in my eyes because I do have watery eyes and this helps stop the watering process. And then I also do have a little makeup skincare routine. I do have a lot of skincare, so I thought if I implemented this, I would get through some of my skincare faster. So I have this fresh black tea eye cream on my eye area. And then I did apply some of this Sulwhasoo serum. And then I used some of this Kat Burki moisturizer on top of the serum. And then I did pat in some of this Biossance oil. So other than my skincare, I have nothing else on my face, so I'm ready to get into the makeup. The first thing I always like to do is go in and prime my face. I like to use a few primers, so the first primer that I took is this one from Smith & Colt, and this is called the Black Drop Mattifying Face Primer. I love this primer, guys. I can't show this to you because I use this whole thing up. This was such a nice primer and I would definitely consider buying the full size of this given the need. This primer is black in color and as you massage it into your face, it does turn clear. This is such a beautiful base before makeup. I have just really been loving this. So since I have no more of that, I'm just going to take another mattifying primer and I'm just going to use this in lieu of that one. While that primer dries upon my face, I'm going to talk about my second primer. So the second one I take is a pore filling primer, and this is from Touch in Sol. This is called the No Problem Priming Eraser, and it is kind of like a little stick product. On the back end of it, you have this little spongy eraser kind of thing. I never used this part of it. I tried it a few times, but I just didn't find that I really enjoyed it. So what I do with this is I apply it to my most porous and textured areas on my face. I just swipe it onto the areas first. And then once I get it applied on there, I take my finger and pat it in. This has worked so good over the month. I really like this and I want to keep this in my collection. As for foundations now, I have two foundations this month because I have a powder foundation and then I have a liquid foundation. We're going to use the liquid one first and I'm going to keep this for a little bit later in the routine because I do have some cream products that I want to go in with and I don't like to put creams over powder. However, before we get in with our foundation, my concealer of the month, I found it imperative to place before my foundation. So the concealer that I'm talking about is from NYX, and this is called the Bear With Me Concealer Serum. I totally have a love-hate relationship with this. Sometimes I wear it and it looks great, and other times I wear it and I hate this stuff. I find that this is very finicky to work with, and I haven't had the best experience with it, but I do find that there is a way to make it work. So the way that I like to use it is I just like to put a little bit in the palm of my hand first, and you don't need a lot of this because it does go a far way. And I'm just taking a little tiny flat brush and I'm gonna dip into that. And then I'm gonna put it onto the areas that I would like to conceal. And remember, this is before foundation. If you have any spots on your face like I do, this is a good concealer to cover them up. Now once I place that, I'm gonna take my concealing brush and just blend all of this in. So completely blended out on my face, I got about a medium coverage level from this. I see a little bit more hydration and definitely some brightening, but I do see through to the spots and darkness on my face. But as far as this concealer goes, I am going to declutter this from my collection just because this is way too finicky for me to work with. I don't like its method of application and this just isn't my type of concealer. Now we can move into foundation, and for the foundation, I got this one from Pat McGrath Labs. This is called the Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Foundation, and I did get mine in the shade Light Medium 14. Throughout the course of this month, I have tried this foundation so many different ways. And I have found that the best way to apply this is with your fingertips. So while using this, I like to section off my face and just work in little sections. So I just dispense a little bit onto my middle finger, and then I dot a little bit around the area. And then once I get it dotted on, I just take my fingertips and blend it out. So here's how the foundation looks applied, and I just love how this looks. It's definitely a medium coverage level, but the texture is so soft and silky that it looks so smooth on your skin. And there's just something about the warmth of your fingertips that does magic to this foundation. I'm definitely going to keep this one in my collection. I love this. Okay guys, now we're ready to move on to our 3 cream cheek products. The first one I'm going to take is from Becca, which is unfortunately no longer a brand, and this is their Bronzing Skin Perfector. I've had this stuff for so long, and I've kept it around because I've really enjoyed it. I've used this with a brush, I've used this with a sponge, and I've also used this with my finger, and it works great any way you want to apply it. For today's sake, I'm just going to use it with my finger. So I'm going to just dispense a little bit onto my finger. It's a very mousse-like texture. And I'm just gonna place this in the areas that I want to bronze. It looks dark, but once you blend it out, it's a really pretty shade. And here's how the bronzer looks all over my face. I really love this since I have it, but I am going to declutter this since it is so old and I've really had my time with it. By getting rid of this, I don't feel like I'm going to be missing it anymore. I just had enough time using it. For the cream blush, we have something from Tony Moly, and this is called their Cheek Tone Cream. I got mine in the shade 3. Again, I'm going to take this shade and apply it to my cheek area with my fingertip. This is a very odd formula. It kind of feels like a glue mixed with a mousse. It applies the same color as it does in the pan. It's very red. So that's how pigmented it looks when it applies, but once you blend it out, it just turns the most beautiful shade of pink. So here's what the cream blush looks like applied, and I am definitely going to keep this. I really have to do a cream blush declutter, but I don't think I have another one like this in my collection. I think this product is discontinued. You can still get it, but I don't think it's available on their site anymore. But this is so vibrant and so much fun, and the texture is so different that this just brings so much joy to me that I am going to keep this. For cream highlight, I have one from Lux Beauty, and this is called their Liquid Glow, and this is in the shade Rose Gold. So it's a nice size container, and when you open it up, it does have a little doe foot applicator. And the way I've been applying this is just by putting 3 little dots on top of my blush. And again, taking my fingers and just giving that a quick blend. So here's what the highlight looks like on, and I am going to get rid of this. This is a really nice and high quality product, but every time I wear this, it just lifts and makes my base look patchy. I don't know if this is made with a ton of oils in there, but it just seeps through to my base and I can see my natural skin through it, and I don't like how that looks, so I will be getting rid of this. Alright guys, now we're ready to move on to our powders, and like I said, I have the powder foundation here and I have a setting powder. So the first thing we're going to take is this Lottie London loose setting powder, and this is a Ready Set Go setting powder, and I have mine in the shade Translucent. This is just a little mini, but of course it's enough to use. So what I'm going to do is just open this up and take my brush, and I'm going to set my T-zone with this loose powder. I'm going to do under my eyes first. As I've been using this powder, I really found that I do enjoy it. This is a really smooth powder, and it does really great over any texture, any pores, stuff like that. But I also did find out that this is a really brightening powder. Even though that this is a translucent shade, it does have kind of a cast. I found that this is such a pretty brightening powder that I'm going to keep this in my collection and not use it for an all-over setting powder, but just use it to brighten up some of my dullness. And I'm going to set the rest of my face, which is the exterior parts, with this e.l.f. Camo Powder Foundation, and I have mine in the shade Light 250W. Now, of course, I usually don't use the Mcgrath Foundation and this Camo Powder Foundation at the same time. On its own, this powder foundation is beautiful. I have thoroughly enjoyed using this. I was kind of on the fence about buying it, but I am so glad I did because I love wearing this. Not only is it super easy, if you really need to get out the door fast, you just take a brush and just slap this all over your face and you look beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and dust off all this excess powder now, and I'm going to keep this in my collection. Now we're ready to move on to the powder face products, and I have 3 really interesting ones today. The first one I'm going to talk about is from a brand called Antonym Cosmetics. And this is really cool. It's in a nice bamboo package. And when you open it up, it looks like this. Now, technically, this is a blush, but I did buy this from a makeup artist as a bronzer. Now, this is in the shade Copper, and it does have a very, very true copper tone to it, and it has a very high concentration of shimmer in it. When I first got this, I was kind of wondering if this was even going to look good on me, and the more I've been using it, the more I have been loving it. So I'm just going to go ahead and bronze up my face with this bronzer. So here's how that product looks on, and whoever discovered this as a bronzer is a genius because this is so pretty. Although this is a blush, I will always use it as a bronzer, and this will definitely be staying in my collection. Next for blush, we have an iconic blush from Wet n Wild, and this is their Color Icon blush in the shade Mellow Wine. So here's what that shade looks like. It's a very nice neutral tone. I'm just picking some up on my brush and going ahead and just applying that to my cheek. Now the thing with this blush is that I find it pretty difficult to effectively blend out. It takes a long time to blend this thing out without any harsh lines. I'm not really crazy about that. I like my products to work in my favor, and this definitely works against me. So because I have a hard time blending this out, it's just not the best formula, and I'm going to pass this on. Now for powdered highlight, let me introduce you to my first high-end makeup product that I ever bought. This is the Nars powdered highlight in the shade Fort de France. Here's the inside of it. I did put a pretty big dent in it. This is such a gorgeous shade. This is one of those ones that do a nice wet sheen on your cheek. I'm going to take one of my big brushes and just apply it with this so I get a more diffused look on my cheek today. So here's what this highlighter looks like, and I will never get rid of this. I love this so much, I'm going to use the whole thing up. Now for setting spray, we're going to take one by Makeup Revolution, and this is called their Calming Makeup Fixing Spray. Now I bought this because it had cannabis sativa in it, and I love that ingredient in all of my products, so I wanted to see how this worked for me. Now the thing that I should have known before I bought this is that it's a fixing spray, so it doesn't really make my makeup last any longer. And I don't love the scent of this, so it just doesn't make me happy anymore. So this is a product that I'm going to be passing on to someone else. Hey guys, I pulled you closer because we're ready to get into more detail work on the face. The first thing we're going to do is brows. Now every month I like to pull 3 brow products, and I use them all sorts of ways. Sometimes I use them by themselves, sometimes I use them all in conjunction with one another. And for this month, I never went a single day without using them all together. So right now I'm going to show you what each product is and exactly how I used it. The first thing I have is my most favorite brow pencil in my entire collection, and this is from Kiko Milano, and this is called their Green Me Brow Pencil. I love this pencil with my whole heart, but the thing is on this, the packaging sucks. So this first cap right here, if you push it on too hard, it smushes the tip of your pencil, so you always have to constantly resharpen it. And this back end cap, it just doesn't go on all the way, and if you push it too hard, you just can't get it off. So you just have to be very careful with how you place the caps, just so your pencil doesn't break itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my spoolie and just brush my brows up, just so they're not all weird looking. And now I'm going to take the pencil side and underline my entire eyebrow. And I've talked about this pencil before, and I still maintain to this day, if you guys are looking for a really good brow pencil, look no further. This one is excellent. This brow pencil works under all conditions, and it comes in a lot of shades, and it is so pretty. As for this pencil, I'm definitely going to keep this in my collection, and when I finish it, I'm going to get a new one. For the next thing, I have a liquid eyebrow pen from the brand called iMethod Beauty, and it has these little prongs on the tip. So what I've been using this for is just in the front of my brow where I have that little pencil mark, and I just come up from the pencil part and just fill in the little front part of my eyebrow. This just gives it a really nice ombre look. The thing is, these just dry out so quickly. I've never met one that I've really enjoyed, so I'm just gonna pass this along. Maybe somebody else will enjoy this more than I did. And now my last brow product is this brow gel from Shop Miss A. This brow gel comes actually in a squeezy tube. So I've experimented with this so much, and I've come out with some pretty rowdy brows sometimes because this just is really hard to work with. But I found the best way to use this is to take a pretty thick angled brush and to dispense some of the product directly on the tip of the brush. Now once you get some on there, start at your outermost part of the brow and just build up the product on that part. You have to work really slow with this and just keep applying it as you need it. Don't go in with a whole bunch at the same time or you'll get a mess on your eyebrows. So I'm going in with my second batch. I'm going to do the front part of my eyebrow now. I like to do the very front of my eyebrow as the last thing that I do so I don't have a wad of gel on it. So here's what my eyebrow looks like after I finally finished putting this brow gel in. Now the thing is, I finally did get this to work in my favor and I do like how it looks, but it does not hold the longest. So I'm just going to give this to somebody else and maybe they can find a way for this to work for them and they can have fun with this too. Now for eyes, we got quite the variety of products here, so we're gonna have some fun with the eyes. Usually for the month I pick one palette, but for this month I picked two since they're so specific in their color stories. The first one I picked is this Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. And then the second one I picked is from I Heart Revolution, and this is called their Heartbreakers palette. Now don't knock the I Heart Revolution formula before you try it, because this is a really good palette. So our eye look today is really not going to match, but we're just going to do a little something so we can use every single product. The first shade I'm going to go into is this white shade on here, and I'm going to dust it all over the eye. Usually when I do eyeshadow, I always go in with a base primer, but since that's not really part of the monthly routine, I did not do that today. So I'm kind of using this white shadow as a powdered primer. Now the shade I'm going to use from this palette is going to be this really light beige right up front, and I'm going to put that a little bit above my crease area. I'm just going to do little circles and just kind of build up some color. This is not really a pigmented shade, but it just gives a little bit of a shadow. Now for this little I Heart Revolution palette, I'm going to go in with a shimmer, and I just have to pick which one I want. I think I'm going to take this bright blue shimmer right here because that would be kind of fun today. And I'm just going to pat this onto my eyelid. So now that I've applied the eyeshadow, I can safely say that I'm going to be keeping these two palettes. I just adore these. Although there's not a huge variation in the colors, I was able to get a lot of different eye looks this month. Now for the upper lash line, I want to take some of this Maybelline Eye Studio Gel Liner. And I'm just going to put this at the very outer corners of my eye. So I just wanted to place it up here just to give a little shadow. Now this gel liner has served me well, but it's a little dried out, and I'm just gonna have to get a new one because this is really difficult to use at this point. Now for the waterline, I have this pencil by Pixi, and this is called their Endless Silky Eye Pen. I'm gonna go ahead and put this into my waterline. So this pencil is really comfortable and easy to use, but the thing is, it doesn't stay in the waterline, it transfers and it migrates. When I make my written post on this subject tomorrow, I do have pictures of how this wears over a period of time, and it is just not good. So I am also going to pass this along. For the lower lash line, I'm going to take this little Lime Crime Diamond Dew. I have mine in the shade Pixie, which is no longer sold, but I'm going to run this along the entire lower lash line. So guys, this is such a fun product and it looks really pretty, but I find it so difficult to use. Every time I use this, I just get really upset. When you try to layer this up, it gets really patchy and you can see through to your actual skin, and I just find it really difficult to build up. I am going to pass this along because I'm just done with this. Now for mascara, we have this one from e.l.f. and this is their Big Mood Mascara. This mascara has a major hourglass wand on it, and I do not like this wand. This is a very messy mascara, and I always make a mess when I use this. I also find that this mascara does not build well, and it does flake on me, and it does transfer. I have some mascaras in my collection that are excellent, and this does not come close to that, and the wand is not great for the lower lash line either. So here's what the mascara looks like on. It's just definitely not my type, and I'm gonna go ahead and give this away. Now guys, I can't believe we're all ready to lips, but I have some lip products here and we're going to try them all out. So I have one that's kind of an obnoxious color, and then I have three that I could use together. The first one I have is from ColourPop, and this is their Lippy Sticks, and this is in the shade I Heart This. And this is one of those lip stylo things that you just twist up. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this and show you what this looks like on first. So here's this color, and I did a wear test on this and I got 7 hours of wear out of this before it started looking kind of bad. So I do like this, and I'm going to keep this around in my collection. Now the next thing I have is from Juvia's Place, and this is their Luxe Lip Liner in the shade called Sweet Nothing. So the first thing is this is a very thickly tipped lip liner, and I think it makes it more easier to control. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply this lip liner first. So here's what this lip liner looks like on. It's a little bit light to do any kind of correcting for me, but I do like this color because I don't have very many of this tone in my collection, so I am going to keep this. And then I have a liquid lip color from Bare Minerals, and this is so fun to use. I have used this all month. So here's what this color looks like on, and I have really liked using this past month. I just have a little mini size, but that is all I need, to be honest with you. I will tell you that over the course of me wearing this, the longer I wear it, the more pink it turns, but I don't mind that. I am certainly going to be keeping this. And the last product that I'm going to be showing you today is from a brand called Belle in Argent. And this is one of their really pretty lipsticks. Here's the color of the lipstick, and it's in the shade 3 Plays. And I'm just going to go ahead and apply this to the center of my lips. So there's my entire lip combo done, and I am definitely going to be keeping this. Not only do I love the way it performs, but I also like to use this for decoration, so I am going to keep this. So here's the entire makeup look done using all the products that I picked out for the month of September. I think we have a lot of good products and a lot of disappointing products. It definitely hasn't been my best month yet, that's for sure. But be sure to leave me a comment, let me know what you think of these products and if I'm wrong for decluttering any of these. And other than that, that is all I have for you guys today. So if you did like this video, please give me a giant thumbs up. And if you didn't like this video, just hit that thumbs down button. And until next time, bye!